Hello everyone, I hope you're having a good Labor Day, because this is going out on said day, but I wanted to reroute back to the videos I'd been making every Sunday, but then kind of dropped off on, and that is the Destiny 1 Exotic Revival series. Essentially taking a look back at every Destiny 1 exotic that hasn't made the gap between Destiny 1 and Destiny 2, and how they could return now that more and more mechanics have been introduced into the game. The topic of this video is going to be, starting off, the first curse, a very heavy, hard-hitting hand cannon, which nowadays would likely be labeled as aggressive, possibly even Ariana's level of damage. Its basic perk was that anytime you aim down sight, you got bonus range, stability, and movement speed bonuses. It had triple tap as well, which was pretty solid if you were accurate enough. Then again, this thing only hold like 7 or 8 rounds total. And then it also had the first curse perk, where the first precision kill of a fresh magazine would also further increase range, stability, and movement speed further until you reloaded, which is very solid for the Crucible. I used it a lot in PvE just because it was a hard-hitting hand cannon, but it was very solid for Crucible. Most Guardians would almost be 2-tapped. If you had any sort of damage buff, you could make the 2-tap, but regardless, this thing had the range to counter. It could be a Crucible monster if it does come back. And honestly, I figure the way it's designed, it could almost come back 1-to-1, considering how many exotics nowadays that just have general movement or stability buffs, just because of things like the elemental affinities on Hardlight and Borealis. I forgot about that one for a moment. But there is a lot of just pure stat bonuses, especially from Catalyst, when you look at things like Sunshot that just gave it range and stability. Could it come as it is? I think more than likely. Just because of the fact that triple tap, again, already exists. And the movement speed buff, it's very much a niche thing. If it maybe got updated so that it was, let's say, range, stability, and damage, I might see that being more beneficial, just because generally some people hipfire, even though hipfire is loose. And I feel like for some reason Destiny makes it so that hipfire is less powerful. This would be a weapon that it would make sense that if it mentioned that aiming down sights gives you like a 0.15 times precision damage bonus, just because it's a competition gun made to go for headshots, I could totally see it. Unfortunately, I don't really see many ways this could evolve without changing how it is, because it originally was made to be the antithesis of the Last Word. Last Word was fast firing, you could hip shot it. The first curse was very slow firing, but you had to aim with it, and it was quite slow, but heavy per shot. So, I'm not exactly sure. I would love to see it make a comeback, though. Moving on to the next, we have a 2-in-1, because we're going to be talking about both the regenerating ammo guns of Destiny 1, that is Invective and Icebreaker. The main difference, Invective was a fully automatic shotgun, which, yes, that could return. It had the perk of Final Round, where the last shot in a mag would just deal extra damage, which they've kind of done away with outside of Hawkmoon. They seem to have replaced Final Round with Opening Shot. And for some reason, that perk just does not exist anywhere, at least off of my memory, in Destiny 2. I'm assuming because in terms of Crucible, people could rig the mag and have one bullet, load it, and then get the one-shot body shot off of a sniper. I know I saw instances of things like that happening back in Destiny 1. However, in Destiny 2, it's much different now, so would that be much of an issue? I don't know. We just have to wait and see. And the other is Icebreaker, where you have a solar sniper rifle that makes it so that targets will randomly combust. And it had its regeneration off the bat. I should also specify, Invective, it didn't start with regeneration, you did earn it. Icebreaker did have regeneration from the start. It also didn't have the traditional magazine. It was literally just a well that you recharged and eventually had the ammo for. You never reloaded, but you just had to wait for the rounds to load themselves. Now, like I said with Icebreaker, I forget if I actually said it, but it had a perk where essentially anything you killed would have a small solar eruption, aka a dragonfly explosion, on the target, and there was no cooldown. Anything you killed with Icebreaker went poof. I could see this making a comeback in one of two ways now. Actually, no, just in one way. To retain the ammo regeneration factor for both Invective and Icebreaker, I feel like they have to incorporate a feed the machine feeds you level of sentience, because thinking of things like Touch of Malice, where it steals your health to give you bonus damage. If there was a case of you kill your enemies and they make ammo for you, I could probably see that working out in the future, and also not astronomical levels, maybe a mag's worth on recharge. Also utilizing the kind of new Crucible system where you gather up points, you score kills, and you earn special ammo transmats for yourself personally. I could see that being copy and pasted to Invective and Icebreaker, either a long regeneration over time naturally, or a influenced one that would be like the original for kills. I could see that possibly working because obviously you would need the kills. I would imagine it would also work on elemental affinity. If you had, let's just say, Icebreaker in the secondary, you probably need solar kills at the same time to benefit your, how do I say this, generation. There is no other way I could really see it working and retaining its return ammo. Aside from that, Icebreaker, I would maybe see a rip from a rework of Borderlands. I don't remember what the brand name, I think it was TDR, but there was a section of guns that when you ran out of ammo, you just threw the gun and it rebuilt in your hands, and the thrown gun would explode like a small grenade. I feel like that could work for Icebreaker, just because we have the transmat technology. We obviously rebuild these guns anytime we pull them out of the vaults. I could definitely see Icebreaker reworked so that instead of the regenerating ammo, it just regenerates the gun. And there is cooldown on that regeneration. Let's say you maybe have 2 or 3 per long cooldown, the long cooldown of maybe like 2-3 minutes or so. Just, it's like a small super almost, just because, again, the way I always saw Icebreaker, I had to laugh because of that one text where it's like, if this part fails, replace user. I imagine taking that and putting it in a transmat, you run out of ammo, the gun goes critical, you chuck it, it explodes. Which, that's kind of how I could see Icebreaker and Invective both coming back, either with the ammo regeneration or the other one. Invective also is an offshoot if they were like 1-to-1 pair, except one was the solar version and one was the solar shotgun, one was the solar sniper. I could see that working for both of them as a kind of pair together exotic. Plus, Invective is supposed to be Ikor's weapon. We have the Ace of Spades, and we have, or it would just only make sense if we had the other ones like, how should I say this? The class-specific ones, Vapian Strategy, Tlaloc. I think I mentioned them once before in a prior video. But essentially, it would make sense that Ikora gets her gun back if Cade had his gun back, and he made a new one. But then, lastly, I want to talk about super good advice. This was a machine gun that got fallen by the wayside ages ago. It was really nifty being a machine gun. It looked a little bit wacky, but it was pretty solid, and its unique perk essentially made it so that it had Rampage, the original Destiny 1 version, and it also had a perk where it was practically, I don't know the exact, but I feel like it was a 95% chance that if you missed a bullet, it didn't hit anything, you'd get it back. It was mulligan on steroids. This thing, you could burn ammo into the sky. You would at least get 3 mags in total, it felt like, because this thing also had like some 80 rounds, if I'm remembering. It was a weird gun, officially, just because the ammo returned. You know, it's kind of like Jade Rabbit. Why would you aim for body shots just to benefit yourself? Because it's kind of like handicapping yourself to not benefit, which I'm not sure if they would be able to do such a thing, but I could see super good advice becoming like a smart gun. Instead of the bullets missed return to the magazine, if the bullets that missed had a, let's just say 70% chance to return to the target itself, like it had a sort of lock-on mechanic, I would see that working out better, because in some rare cases like Oracles, it was busted because Oracles counted as missing a target even though you did damage numbers. So you could essentially have a machine gun the entire round for every single Oracle because you never ran out of ammo from the returns. But regardless, I kind of see super good advice possibly returning in the wake. We do have mulligan again as a mechanic. It would be a little bit broken, and they would have to redefine what counts as missing a target, of course, because of the strand stuff, the stasis stuff, all the random builds that is made throughout the world. I feel like they would have to redefine what counts as a target entirely in order to make it work. But I could see it working, or again, reworking in the way that I just mentioned, where instead of you get all your rounds back almost always, it would be all your rounds almost always hit the target, because I feel like that would be the good way to rework, because the lore of the gun has an AI inside of it. So with that, I think a target tracker smart gun would make sense. Of course, then again, the thinking of it, just because I thought about First Descendant and aim assist, you would have to lock onto the target, and I feel like it wouldn't aim for body shots. It probably wouldn't have aim assist, but this is also just me thinking of you are shooting a gun that has smart bullets. You need it to land where you want it, but at the same time, the AI can only manage what it can manage. But that is also just my theory. That is just another episode of Destiny 1 Exotics. You go over and put some thoughts out in the world. At that, my name is TheMadScorpyon. I will see you in the next video, and have a good Labor Day.